Hey, it's Evelyn, and welcome back to Class with Prof. Eve. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about my Ramadan experience and what it's like to fast as a Muslim during Ramadan, and Muslims also fast outside of Ramadan. Just a little factoid there, that on Mondays and Thursdays, those are days that are also fasting days for some Muslims who choose to do so. It's something that was aligned with the practices of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So that's not something that I do very regularly, but I'm going to start. Inshallah, that is my goal, to start fasting on Monday and Friday more often, because it would probably be a little bit easier during Ramadan if I did that, I think. I don't think that fasting is ever going to be really easy, but I think it might lighten the load a little bit if I did it throughout the year occasionally, not just during Ramadan. So I'm going to try it out and report back. We'll see how that goes. But this is my, I don't know, I think 6th or 7th Ramadan. I don't know how I can track it. I need to figure out exactly what year it is, but I am someone who converted or reverted to Islam. I was born into a Christian Baptist family, lived in Christian homes, my entire life. And I went to church, even in college and all of that. I was really heavily involved in church. I was like an usher. I was a part of the praise dance team. I attended a lot of Bible studies and Sunday school and led some of those classes, and just all kinds of different levels of involvement in the church realm throughout my younger years for sure, but also, in my late teens and early 20s when I went off to college and was kind of living on my own. I was still going to church. So I am, I'm the only Muslim in my family, dynamics, and it makes it difficult sometimes, being the only Muslim, where when Ramadan comes about or Eid comes about, there's not a lot of people in my immediate environment that could celebrate with me. And so there's a lot of iftars by myself and, celebrations alone at home, or just me and my kids who are not, Muslim. They're young, and I don't know what decisions they'll make later on, but they're not currently Muslim, or they haven't professed to be Muslim yet. But I like solitary time. I love being alone, but I also like, community and connecting with like-minded people. And so I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. I'll try to get back on track here, but I'm saying all this to say that there are things that kind of complicate or maybe make some things a little more difficult than they would be perhaps if you lived with family members that were also fasting with you, and getting up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. and eating the early morning meal sahur with you and praying all the prayers with you. These are things that I typically do alone. And again, it's typically fine. But I think I'd have more motivation, encouragement, support, if I did have at least, one person or something with me who lived with me who was also practicing Islam. So when it comes to fasting, that, in itself, it's not an easy thing to do, because Muslims don't eat or drink water. I remember fasting when I was a Christian. We were able to drink water still, and maybe other things. I don't recall. But I know that we're able to drink water. And so a lot of people, they still drink water or some sort of liquid, but they abstain from food. Well, we don't do that. There is no food or no liquid of any sort. Nothing comes across that palate, that tongue. After sahur and after fajr has come in, the first prayer, you pray. Yeah, there's nothing else until Maghrib, which is the time that we break the fast and have dinner, and then the last prayer after that is Isha. And so, where is I going with that? This is another common thing. It's you get the fuzzy brain when you're fasting, and then everything gets really clear. You go through these phases of I can't even remember my middle name, to oh my gosh, I had a genius idea, and I'm going to go write a whole paper on it. So fasting is not easy in general. And it's especially not easy when you're not eating or drinking all day. And this year for Ramadan and the place that I live, we break fast at like 5:45. It's getting closer to 6 o'clock. By the end of Ramadan, it'll be like 6 or 6:30. But that's still a lot earlier than it was in the past. In the past, I remember not breaking fast until like 9 o'clock at night. So I am grateful when we break fast at 5:30, even 6 o'clock, 6:30, that like, hey, but it's challenging, throughout the day still. Like those hunger pains definitely start to hit. I would say for me, what time do they usually hit? I usually eat a decent morning meal, and I don't usually eat a whole lot in the morning anyway. So just having a little bit is usually okay. And I've been drinking some electrolytes this year. So I've actually felt okay up until about maybe 11 or noon. Certainly by 1, the hunger pangs are coming in. And yeah, that period between like 1 and like 5 can be challenging, especially as you get like closer, like even an hour before after. I find that that's like sometimes the hardest to pull through. Because you're just, you start to get really drained and fatigued, and you just want to sleep, but you want to like have your food ready and know what you're going to do for iftar. And then there's prayer still, right? You pray the Maghrib prayer, you pray the Isha prayer. There's still 2 prayers. And then there's the extra prayers in the evening, the Taraweeh prayers that are after the last of the 5 prayers. So there's still like things to do, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say that I'm usually okay until about noon, between noon and 1, and I really start to feel the hunger pangs. And my current teaching schedule is Monday and Wednesday, 10. I have classes from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. So 10 to 10:50, 11 to 11:50, 12 to 12:50. So usually when I'm going to my classes, it's actually okay because there's a lot of adrenaline. I'm busy. I'm not really paying attention to hunger or thirst that much. But when I'm done, or definitely by the end of my last class, that noon class, I start to feel it. But, I make sure that I have things prepared in advance. And I did make a video about this, how I, manage Ramadan as a full-time professor. And one of those things is having your materials ready in advance and also not overloading your curriculum too much. So it's a good time to like do some extraordinary assignments, like go to the art gallery or, have them do a lot of independent work or work in groups, something that doesn't require as much lecturing from me. And I also try to avoid a lot of things that are going to be really intellectually heavy, like very, very heavy. And it's unavoidable to a certain extent, like all of the stuff is, it's like different material in each of those classes. Actually, I have 3 different classes across those hours. But these are things I've also taught for years, so I can almost go in unprepared and still be okay most of the time. So I am at that point in my career where I don't need to have as much prepared because I already have so much stuff to draw from. So I can just like pull it up, edit it. And usually there's not that much editing and it's good to go. So having things ready to go, taking those moments to just relax and breathe, disconnect from the noise and from other people, that's really helpful. So going back to my office, even if it's for 3 minutes before my next class, is really helpful for just like getting me grounded again, taking that breather, shaking it off and just keeping it moving. And so I want to finish this video by talking about the clarity part and some of the benefits of fasting as when it comes to your mental state and intellectual state or whatever you want to call it. So obviously as a professor, I have to do a lot of thinking and mental work and a lot of things that require intellectual thought and stuff like that. And so that becomes a little more challenging during Ramadan when I'm hungry and thirsty, especially when it really starts to kick in. But what I found is that, yes, I do have those moments of brain fog and all of that. But as I was saying before, there's also those moments throughout the day, and they may come more than one time a day. Sometimes it's just one time a day where you have like an hour or 2 or 3, and it's like, I feel great. I can do all these things. And sometimes that might happen a couple times throughout the day, and sometimes it might be the whole day, or that day may not be as difficult. So there's ebbs and flows with fasting. It's not ever exactly the same. It's never the same any day or any Ramadan. It's always different. Every single day is different. But I found that I can focus a lot more when I fast. And it's not entirely because I'm not thinking about food or having to make food. That's a part of it, but that's not all of it. Like, I think stripping our bodies of like food and water and just the physiological state that puts you in just really sharpens things. At least, for times throughout the fasting period. Where even when I'm praying, I feel like I'm more focused when I'm praying, when I'm fasting, as opposed to when I'm not. Like, I find that when I've eaten food and I'm praying, I get distracted so easily. Like, I start thinking about what I'm going to do after the prayer, like what I'm doing tomorrow, my clothes, the temperature, the sound I just heard, like everything distracts me. But when I'm fasting and praying, I hold that focus so much more. I actually feel more connected to Allah and to what I'm doing when I'm fasting and praying, actually, too. It's a much more intimate experience for me. So I really do think that praying while fasting is a different experience. For me, it is. I'm curious about what other people think about that, if that's the way that you feel also. So that's wonderful. I really love that because, like I said, I'm so easily distracted when I'm praying and not fasting. And remember, these are 5 prayers a day. And so there's other things going on, in your life. Like, my kids might be in the other room or in the same room with me. Maybe I'm fasting, I'm praying in my office at work or something. Like, there's all kinds of distractions. But I can really tune those things out when I'm fasting, for some reason. And yeah, I think even intellectually, I have different kinds of thoughts, like it's important to spend time in quiet solitude and reflection during Ramadan, whether that's reading or writing or, reflecting on praying. Like, those kinds of states are really important to the experience. And I found that I have new kinds of ideas or have different sorts of reflections on things when I'm fasting. And those things don't come to me when I'm not fasting. And even if I don't have the energy to execute all of them, then I still the idea came to me. So it's something for me to use later on when I do have the time and energy to implement whatever that was. And I do also feel like, some of the work that I do or new things that I put together while fasting is also pretty good because I have different kinds of insights and different things come to me during that time that typically wouldn't. And I can't explain that. I don't know why that is exactly. I know it has something to do with the absence of food and water in my body and the way that my body is reacting to that. And also the way that my mental state is kind of adjusting to that. But I don't know, how to explain it beyond that. But there is definitely something special that happens when you're fasting. And I just really encourage everyone to at least try it. I think nowadays people are doing it for health reasons, to lose weight and all these sorts of things. A lot of non-Muslims are fasting now. It's a popular thing now, in certain communities and for certain people. So people are doing it, but I do encourage people to do it and try the no food, no water, even if it's for part of the day or something like that, and just see what happens. See if there's anything that's different. Maybe your attitude changes a little bit. Maybe the way that you react and respond changes a little bit. Maybe your ideas and thoughts change a little bit. But I guarantee you something is going to change. Like, something is going to be a little bit different for you. And it's really interesting to take note of that and assess kind of where that's coming from. So that is my spiel on fasting and mental clarity. Fasting is, a beautiful challenge and requires a lot of discipline, but it's really amazing. And I do think it's actually really good for us. Even if I wasn't Muslim, I would do this occasionally. There's something special about it. There really, really is. And I'm just really grateful to be able to break my fast and have something to eat and drink afterwards as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.